Hey there, happy Thursday. Thank you for joining me here tonight. My name is Alyssa Thomas, and tonight we are going to be continuing on the Granny Square Quilt. We are sewing the rows together. We have one more long sashing piece to put on it, and then we will be done with the initial rows, and we can start sewing the one row to the next row. So we're getting in bulky territory here. So that is the plan for tonight. So thanks again for joining me here. Again, my name is Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make cute embroidery kits for the beginning crafter. And I'm here every weeknight at 8:30 p.m. Central Time, and it's a time that we can relax and craft together. So thanks again so much for being here. We are continuing on that Granny Square Quilt. So let's get going tonight. All right, hello. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. I see you popping in on Facebook and YouTube. Glad to have you here. All right, so what we've been doing is putting the long piece of sashing on the bottom of all our rows, and we just have one more row to do that with, and that is row number 5 right here. We actually have 6 rows, but the bottom row doesn't get one. That will get a border later. So I'm going to put row 6 to the side for now. I have them all labeled so they won't get out of order. But we are going to, let's first press our little halfway point into our sashing here, and then we'll press the halfway point into our block. We're going to actually press the block, the strip first. It hasn't been, or that row, it hasn't been pressed yet, so we'll do that. Then we'll mark that center point like what I'm doing now here. And we'll line up those center points and then line up the ends and kind of divvy up the space after that. I'm just hoping to not stretch the piece as I go. That's why we're measuring that midpoint to help with that. I hope all of you had a great Thursday today. Approaching the end of the week here. All right, I'm going to first start by pressing the sashing piece, the seam allowance, towards the sashing pieces. That's the part that we haven't done yet. And then I'll flip it around and give it a good final press on the front. And then once it's all nice and the shape and size it wants to be after pressing, then we'll line it up with our long sashing piece. And that long sashing piece is what we measured really well. And that's what we're using as our guide for keeping all these rows the same size, because these rows are kind of stretchy, and those sashing pieces is what's going to keep them all kind of matching up, hopefully. That's the plan, at least. We'll see how it goes. So starting off by just pressing these sashing pieces. So tomorrow is the first Friday of the month, and that is our Finish It Friday day. So we will take out a project we haven't worked on for a while. That's what we do on Finish It Friday, the first Friday of the month. And we'll put an hour of time into it. We'll get an hour more done on that project. And I think, I mentioned yesterday, but I think I kind of want to get that black sheep pillow that I was knitting from. It's a Pearl Soho pattern that I started like a millennia ago, and it'd be great to get another hour on that. It's been itching at my brain a little bit, so that usually means it's time to address it again, so we'll work on that a little bit. Oh, Becky, that's exciting. Becky's getting her vaccine shot tomorrow. Yay! That's good. I think my mom gets her second one, like any day now. And, or maybe she got it already and now it's the 2-week period. It's one of those two things. So, period after, but she's pretty much there, and my dad is done, and I think John's parents are scheduled for their first one as well. So all is well on that front. I don't know when we'll be able to get ours, but we did get an email from, I don't know, the state or from somewhere, from insurance from somewhere, kind of mentioning Minnesota's plan. And you know, we're not on there anywhere. We're not a teacher, and we're not a healthcare worker or over 65. So we're low on that list right now. But I think all like teachers and stuff can start getting it, which is great. Oh, Amy, thanks so much. Amy said that she shared the feed. I definitely appreciate that. Yeah, and thanks everyone for your comments and chit-chatting during this show, and subscribing and the shares and all that. All of that tells YouTube and Facebook that you want to be here, and they then promote things more. So that's much appreciated. All right, I love this when everything gets all perfectly nice and flat. Just that little bit of ironing really does finish it up a little bit. All right, so that's our pretty row. This is our row number 5. I'm going to fold it in half, and we'll... the halfway point is right in that center sashing piece here. So I'm going to line up the seams so I get like right in the center, and I'm going to just mark it with the iron. That little iron mark has been helpful. You can just finger press it, but then I've been getting confused at like phantom folds, like folds that are just kind of not... that are just kind of within the fabric a little bit yet, and my real folds. So I've been using the iron, and that's been helpful. Just to get a little tick mark in there. All right, so here's that folded mark here. So that's what I'm going to match up right sides together. So like that. That we're going to match the middle points, and I'm going to put a clip there, and then I'm going to clip this way and then clip that way. We'll be all clipped, and then we can sew. This will be our last row that I'm sewing the sashing to, and then we can actually start sewing rows. So I can sew row 1 to 2, and we'll see how that goes. There's a little bit of a process, like I don't know if we'll have enough time because this will be my last time working on it. So sometimes you want to do like rows 1 and 2, and then you want to kind of jump to the end. So like do rows 5 and 6, because then row 1 and 2 will be coming off of the machine at that point, and then you can put 1 and 2 onto 3 and 4. Oh, but I suppose we have to sew those rows together first. So that's when we assemble the final bit. So getting ahead of myself again, but there's kind of like a little tricks to maximize your time, I suppose, when you're sewing rows and stuff together. But we won't be sewing the whole top together yet. We'll just be sewing like row 1 and 2 together. I guess that's kind of final assembly of rows is what I was thinking, but we're not there yet. Okay, I'm just trying to match up the edge here, make sure it's like equally dispersed across this. And then I'm just going to clip in the middle, and then I'm going to put a couple more clips just to balance it out so that when I'm sewing, I'll not stretch, but I'll be, again, balancing it out between the 2 clip points in case it starts wanting to stretch or get out of place. Then we got like these little markers. All right, so now this segment here, we'll get 2 clips for that. Let's get those closer. All right, now, so that's the halfway point. Now I can do the same on this side. So I'm going to get the end first. Make sure that it's rotated the right way. Ah, Valeria, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Valeria said that this quilt is breathtaking. That's awesome. I appreciate that. I am having the best time on this quilt. I've been excited at every point of this quilt, which has been really, really fun. I could almost see making another one, but I kind of am rarely repeating projects. I say that I want to make another one, but I always end up just starting something new and trying something new out. Like, I feel like I've tested an idea, and I never make projects for fun. I feel like I just feel like I do projects to like try out an idea or learn something, and I don't know, I need to do a project just to relax sometime, I think. Well, I suppose that's why I knit washcloths. that feels like just for the sake of relaxing, and that's it. But I haven't done that in a little while either. I feel like with quilting, there's always something to learn or something to try. Even just the colors is what we are trying on this, like an experiment in picking colors, and that was enough to do a whole quilt about in my brain of like experimenting. So I don't know. In theory, it'd be fun to do this again and just relax and pick out fun fabrics. I even know fabrics that I would love to do this with. I have like some of those like flour sack reproduction fabrics. I'm gonna get my glove again for this. From a zillion years ago. Like I mean, you know, they're not original, but I have like a reproduction ones that I purchased. It's got to be at least 15 years ago. I would love to do that with just a white background, so it's just all just sweet and traditional, but clean and colorful and pretty. I would love to do this pattern with those fabrics after doing this now, but I just feel like I probably won't ever do that because I'll be moving on to some other experiment, basically, some other idea I want to try. But I don't know, maybe I could do like a baby quilt or something and still use the same pattern, like just do like 6 of them or 9 of them or something maybe. Or 4, like the example in the pattern. So one of her pattern testers did one with just 4, but did like the fancy border and stuff with it still. That'd be kind of fun. So maybe maybe I can still do a relaxing quilt sometime with this pattern. I mean, they're all relaxing, but I feel like I always have like an agenda with quilts. Like, ooh, I gotta learn. Ooh, it'd be fun to like get better at needle turn or applique, or let's try and base a whole quilt on the color of the year or whatever. Like, those are all experiments and tests in my head. It's not just like playing around, or it's not just pure relaxation as the only goal. Which, like I said, like knitting washcloths, that's like just pure relaxation, and there's like zero other goal to that. Except for having more washcloths, which I don't really need. It's definitely a fun one if you ever decide to do this one. And you could just do a couple blocks. You wouldn't have to do all of them either. Like I said, that example just uses 4. I don't know how I do the math on all that. Like, I'd have to do a different size quilt because the pattern only has like the 1. So I'd have to like really think about how many strips I would need and stuff for a smaller quilt. But yeah, you could do just a smaller one. It's just making these blocks was just fun out of all those strips. All right, I need to tuck the seam under. There we go. Okay, I think we're past the halfway point. Oh, we're almost done. So now, this is our last one that we're sewing the sashing on, so we're going to press this right away, but I'm also going to go ahead and press row 6, because we haven't pressed the like little sashings in that yet, and I want all the rows like equally ready to go, so we'll press that one right away too, even though that one doesn't get a sashing, a lower sashing strip. Although, I should check to see if we made the border pieces, because it looks like the top and bottom border are basically like these sashing strips. They're the same size, they're just a little wider, or taller I mean, so they're like 2 1/4 inches instead of just the 2 inches. So if I had those done, it would be awesome to just be able to sew those on right away now. Because if I sew them on later, it's going to be so bulky. The quilt will be all sewn together and bulky by then, so it'd be awesome if I could sew it together when I'm just dealing with these little strips still. So we might have to peek at that too. Actually, why don't we do that right now? So here's my bin for this project. This is my sashing strip thing, which we are done with. I suspect that I have not sewn these together either. So, all right, strips for inner border, 7. Okay. Since there's only 4 borders, there's not 7. This makes me think that this is for the top and the bottom, and then the left and right side, and we haven't put them together yet. So we'll just deal with that later, then that's a bigger project. We'll have to do the same thing that we did with the sashing where we sewed a seam. So we'll end up with like one long strip that we cut the right amount of pieces out. Although, we would need 8 pieces. So yeah, we'll have to sew all of those border strips just like what we did here. So we have a long strip, and then we'll have to cut. There'll be 2 that are 59 inches, and then the other 2 will be a bit longer. We'll have to look like 60.5 inches or something. I don't remember, but I know it's a little bit longer for the sides. So we'll just do that later. I'm not going to do that now. I was thinking, it'd be awesome to do it now, but I don't want to start by sewing all those strips together. Not until next time we work on this. Then we can get that early in the week and move on from there. So we'll just deal with sewing rows together tonight. And we'll press this, then I'll press row 6. Gosh, we really could just sew row 5 and 6 together while we're at it down here. Because if I'm going to be pressing row 6, then it's like ready to go. I think let's start at the bottom and work our way up. So let's do that. I have it out already. We're saving time by working with what we got already. So I'm going to finish pressing this, and then I'll fold this in half, and we'll get that little middle mark. And then I will set it aside momentarily, press 6, put the 6 middle mark on, and then we will line these up, and these 5 and 6 will be our first 2 rows that we sew together. Oh, so Cheryl, in theory, so Cheryl's asking, when I finish assembling the quilt, are you going to quilt it now? Wondering because mine is nearly finished too, wondering about quilting. I am planning on, yes, continuing to quilt it right away. However, I do not have a back for this quilt yet, so it's gonna be a long time before I get to quilting. But I think I am planning on quilting it how it is suggested in the pattern, mostly because I've done all the other things. Well, actually, I've adjusted it, but I'm trying to go with what the designer did here, and I've never followed a quilting like agenda of the quilter, so I thought I'd give it a go, and it's super fancy. So here is the suggested quilting, which I've never done anything like any of this. So I thought it might be interesting to try. So I am going to attempt to do something along these lines, and I suspect, I'm gonna have to draw those on there or something for these middle guys. I don't know how I'll do that. But anyway, I thought I'd kind of give it a go. Maybe we won't do it exactly like that, just because that looks really crazy difficult, but I don't know how to do that little star in the middle, so we'll have to try something. But I thought, you know, like this outer border, at least that I feel like I could comfortably sort of do. But I thought it'd be just kind of interesting to do what they said, like how the picture in here, just to learn, I guess. That's kind of why I like doing other people's patterns, because it's always interesting to follow someone else's instructions, and then I always learn something new that I didn't know before, like some technique or whatever. Like, why are they doing it like this? And then you do it and you realize, oh, that's a hack, you know. So I just thought I'd do the same with the quilting. Oh, Valeria, thank you so much. I appreciate that so much. Thank you for your support. All right, so I'm just matching up the seams again here because I want to get the halfway point, which is a little more difficult now, right? Because the sashing doesn't really have that halfway point. You know, really, I should have pressed the entire width of this sashing, then I would have still have that halfway point. So instead, I'm still trying to match up those seams and then just kind of finger press it down like this. But dang, now if I would do this again, I feel like I would have just pressed the entire width, because then I'd have that halfway point here too. Well, anyway, we're here now. So that was the halfway point of row 5. So I'm going to just set that aside shortly while I press row 6. So I'm just going to scooch this up. And then I'm going to press this, mark the middle row of here, and then I'm going to flip it up, and how I was clipping the long sashing piece onto these rows, I'm going to do the same thing, but it'll be a big row onto one of those like double row things. So we're doing the same process, it's just getting fatter and fatter here, bulkier and bulkier on my little itty bitty bitty table here. This is the part of quilting that always gets a little hairy in my little work area here. So that's why I won't sew like row 1 to 2 and then those double to 3 and then to 4 and then to 5, because then it just gets bulkier and bulkier. Also, just single rows to each other until I'm out of single row. So I'll have like 5 and 6 will be together, 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 will be together, and then I'll start sewing those, and at that point we'll get real bulky. That's why I was hoping to kind of get those borders on the top and bottom. And maybe we still do that. Maybe next time we work on this in April, maybe I'll start with those border pieces, get those just cut. Then we can sew them to the top and bottom before sewing the rest of these rows together. That might make it a little easier, dealing with less bulkiness. Oh, I was just thinking, so Becky says I need my extension table. Yeah, once I get bulkier, I totally will, but I was just thinking about that just now. The extension table will go like about to here, and then I won't be able to like press these long rows. So there's trade-offs to like that as well. All right, let's get the front of this all nice, and we will pair it with row 5 right away. I like that we're doing it this way. versus like me folding this up and folding 5 up and then going back to 1 and 2. That seems like a waste. We already have these out. Just getting these center rows all done up well. And or the center sashing pieces. And giving the rest a nice press. This row is pretty. I like row 5. They're all fun. Okay. I like when that bright green pops out. Oh, that's true. I could save row 1 and 6 for the last, and sew the rows on, but I think if it's just connected to the other, yeah, I suppose I could start with 3 and 4. Well, I don't know. It won't be so bulky with the 2 rows. We'll just get that extra, the border on the top and bottom. But once it gets to be like the whole quilt, then that's when it's just going to get worse. But you're right, that's not a horrible idea for sure. But I'm going to still start with these just because I'm excited because I got them all nice and pressed. We'll just keep going. But yeah, before I sew row 5 and 6 to any other bulkiness, I will sew the top and bottom border on. All right, I'm getting the halfway point here, but I'm going to get it on the top now instead of the bottom like the other one. So I'm just matching up the seams again. That's about the middle right there. There we go. And now I can match. Let's get this guy back down here, at least the middle. Okay, so we're matching up those 2 points, putting right sides together, and okay, matching those little folds and the edge, and that will be our first clipped feller. Great, now we're just doing the same thing as before, just a hair bulkier. So let's get the end first. Ooh, I might want to flip it the other way because it's better to have like the bulky on the bottom. And this is going to be bulkier than the sashing. So I am going to flip this. I'm going to put 5 on top because I'll be sewing this sashing and this will be bulkier. So it'll be kind of like we're sewing how we sewed the other ones on. I'm going to flip this guy around just to make it easier. There we go. All right, I think this will feel a little bit better. So let's get this end first. So we have one other thing that we could sort of pay attention to at this point, and it is that we now have like these vertical sashing pieces. So I don't want to like shimmy it too far this way or this way because then, you know, this sashing piece won't match up vertically with that sashing piece. So instead of just kind of like holding this even, I think instead I'm going to go ahead and try and match up these sashing points. Oh gosh, dealing with the bulk already. So I'm going to match up the edge, and then I'm going to try and get these to line up. Yeah, these sashing pieces to line up with each other, and once that feels all right, then I'm going to clip. So hopefully we'll get, you know, a nice vertical, like all the sashings to line up. This seems like a good idea. Hopefully this works. It's a theory. Feels like I gotta match up the edge first. that's pretty good. And now, ooh, yeah, we need to scooch over. It's about right there. And then I can maybe split these in two, just for a couple extra clips. Yeah, just to keep those edges lined up. When I quilt, I'll get the extension table out for sure. So the other project that's kind of looming in my head as like it's itching to be worked on is the Triangle Tango quilt. That's ready to be quilted. It's actually not quite ready. Okay, I'm going to do the other side here now. I have to kind of draw a quilting design. Like I wanted to have like a whole scene on the back of that. Oh, is there something wrong? Oh, this is why I like cornerstones. So, hey, John is watching. He may be able to alert her. Oh, is something going on, Noeline? Like, is the video not working or something? I'm just checking. Oh, I usually match intersections because they won't match. Huh. Nope, she's sticking with 5 and 6 together now. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I guess I'm not quite sure what you guys are trying to alert me about. Oh, is it because I'm doing... No, 5 and 6 are right. Is it because I'm sewing 5 and 6 instead of waiting to put the border on? Or am I totally doing something wrong here? We want you to sew 4 and 5. Oh, yeah. So 4 and 5, so I can do 6 later. 4, 5. Oh, yeah, I could do 4, 5, and 3, 2. Four, 5. Well, I'm already pinned though now. So 4, 5, and 4, 5, and 3 and 2 I could have. Oh yeah, you're right. Oh, I could have done it that way. I was thinking I'd have 1 left over, but you're right. That would have been good. You're right. That would have been good because then we could have just done 6 to the 1 or 6 to the border and 1 to the border. Oh well. I'm not going back now. Yep, that would have been a good idea. I saw that, but then in my head I was thinking, oh, but I'd have like 1 extra and I'm already pressing this. But you're right, that would have been maybe a bit easier. Future self is not going to be happy with me, I guess. It's not too late for 4 or 5. I could do... I don't want to unpin this. That's the problem. I'll put 1 more clip in here. It's true. I could go back, but I don't think it's going to be the end of the world either way. Could be way more serious, I think. We'll just do it this way. I just really don't want to unclip all these and then have to clip again. All right, we're moving forward. I'm going to keep doing it like this, the dumber way for sure. But I understand what you're saying now. That would have been a great idea. Or it's still a great idea, but I don't want to clip again. I hate clipping. All right. I think we're pretty well lined up, or I hope I am. So we're moving forward. Let's sew all this together. I'm going to throw it in my lap, and we'll do it. Oop, I'm stuck. There we go. to get that glove on again. That's been helpful for me to help move this along. But yeah, it'll be getting to extension table time, I think, with this big quilt. Oh, but with the Triangle Tango quilt, that one I want to draw a whole scene for the quilting. Like, I have this horse drawing, so there's some horses in the fabric, that Triangle Tango quilt fabric, and I have this horse drawing that I did in college, and we hung it up recently here because we found it and we needed something on the wall. So we put that up and it kind of fit. But I kind of want to do this horse, like draw that like big on the quilt, and then like figure out what all the rest of the quilting would be around it, like a little scene. And I kind of wanted to draw it like in the iPad or something first, and we'd have to transfer it. And the way I want to transfer the design is just by drawing it, like doing that grid sort of drawing where you just like look at what's in a smaller square and try and translate that to a larger square. Like, you know, like we're in first grade sort of thing, which is not the easiest thing to do. But I think that might be a way to get a smaller drawing onto something really big. So I thought that might be fun to do, so I can't quite work on that until I've drawn something out. But it's talking to me again. I even brought it downstairs here. It's in my like tiny workspace here, even. So it's wanting me to move forward on it. So we'll get to that project too, I think. I think we're going to press this right away too. Just because I want to see how it looks, and it's always so pretty when we press it. One less thing we'll have to do later as in depth. And it's hard to do all this flipping the seams and stuff and pressing when we have tons of fabric, so just when it's at this stage will be kind of nice, I think. Alright, almost to the end. Oop, don't run away on me, guy. Get the leader in there. Cool. Let's give this guy a press. All right, so I'm going to just put this under and we'll flip this back as we go here, and we're still pressing the sashing, or the seam allowance towards the inside, so this will work good doing it like this. We can see how well we lined up our vertical sashing pieces. That's looking pretty dang good. Good start. can see the bulkiness is starting to happen. Ugh, but it's looking pretty. Look, it's a quilt almost. Yeah, that is fun when you get to the stage where it looks like a quilt top. Okay, that looks pretty good too. I'm satisfied with that lining up. I could use a bigger one of these mats too, these pressing mats, these wool mats. I do have a couple more, and I have put them like all on the table before to do a lot more pressing. So as we get bigger here, like when we press the whole entire quilt, when we're done, or at least this section when we're done with the main front area, and the borders too, I'll probably get those other mats out and we'll do that too. Be able to press a larger piece on this table. It's looking so pretty. So I think for the back of this, I'm probably going to do what I typically do for backs as of late, which is take all of the leftover fabric, sew it together, and have that be the back. So that takes some time. But I do think we actually have some larger chunks of these fabrics. So maybe it won't be so long, but yeah, my backs usually take a long time since I'm sewing all the little bits together. But I do like the idea that, I'm gonna take this off just to press. I do like the idea that when the fabrics I use are like exclusive to this quilt. I suppose I've used all these fabrics in other things, but I do like when it lives in the quilt and all the scraps live in the quilt too. I think it's kind of fun. So they live in the back. All right, this is looking okay. This seam maybe isn't perfectly aligned with this seam, but that's pretty minor. Okay, before I get too far, I'm going to put this back on. I really don't need this on anymore. I just need like one of them to be here, but I'm going to leave them both for now. Just so I'm less confused, because we are stopping this project today. So I need to have all my bearings next time I work on it. But look, it looks like a quilt. Fun. All right, so this piece, this guy, I think we can just kind of fold up and we can get going on putting a whole nother section together. And I guess I'm gonna go with my original plan, which is, not, wasn't probably the best plan. But I think I will leave row 1 undone right now, just because, yeah, I can at least get the border on that one before I sew it to something else. So I think I'm going to continue from the bottom up. So I'll do 4 and 3 together now. So let's see, what's the best way to fold this? I think just kind of how we were doing it, kind of accordion folding it down the line here, and then I'll fold it in half, and that's how it'll live. So I know we just pressed it and now we're folding it, but the seam, the sashing piece will still be folded to the inside all nice, and that's the main, I think. Yeah, the seam allowance is still pointing inside. That was our main pressing deal. All right. It folds like a quilt. Yay! Okay, love it. All right, that is 5 and 6. Done. Let's get the next 2 bottom ones. So here's 4 and 3. There we go. So 5 and 6, you live up here. 1 and 2, you live next to 5 and 6. All right. Whew. Okay, so now these have already been pressed, so we just need to do that middle mark point, and let's do row 3 first. Yeah. Well, I want this one on top, so maybe I should do this second. I'm gonna do row 4 first. 3 come back down here. Okay, let's fold this in half. So this is the bottom one I need on this one. Wait. No, the top part I need on this one, because this is 4. So that's where I can easily line up the edge. Okay, so that's the center. I could, so Becky's asking about the Triangle Tango quilt. Why not draw the horse freehand with a chalk pencil? I could try doing that. I don't know how good that's going to look. And it's so big that, you know, because it's a whole quilt at this point. So I just don't know how I would do that big. I mean, I could if I'm going on a drawing that already exists that I did, so I want it kind of true to that. And it'd probably be easier just to try and recreate it, drawing it big potentially. But I don't think I have the space to lay down the quilt like that big. And I wanted to try the whole idea of just doing it square by square a little bit with some water soluble. Which means I have to do that from the front, which I don't know if that's a good idea either. I don't know. That's probably why I haven't been working on that project, like figuring out that quilting, just because it's been. I'm trying to think of how I'm doing this at the same time as talking. Okay, so I think that's why I did the 4 first, because I wanted that one to be on the bottom. And then we'll flip this on top. So I think that's why I'm kind of procrastinating on that project, is because I haven't quite figured out the best way to draw this quilt design. There we go. 3s on top and 4s on the bottom. That's how we need it to be. Okay. Valeria, yes, as of now, I am keeping this quilt. I really like this quilt. I would like to do another one. I keep all my quilts basically, except for I think there's the 2 quilts, the koala quilt and that kind of smaller hourglass quilt that we made. Oh God, probably a couple of years at this point. That one we did a giveaway for. But yeah, other than that, there's a lot. I mean, like, and the more I do these videos, just because we've been doing a lot of quilting. You know, we do embroidery and all that too, but I've been apparently on a quilting binge for the past several years because I keep wanting to make more quilts. A lot of times I'll just get sick of something and I'll try something else, but there's still more to play around with in quilt land in my head. So I've made a lot of quilts since doing these lives. But we use them. It's nice to have some finishes. Finished the jean quilt, all those things that have been sitting around because of doing these lives. So it's my excuse to get stuff done here, and that means a pile of quilts. But we always have them handy, and we have like lighter ones for the summer, and most of them are for napping on the couch. That's where most of the quilts end up. It's just folded up, ready to grab for a nap. And we're changing the spare bedroom and kind of into like a studio space. So actually a little bit of storage now. So that won't have a bed anymore. So that won't have a quilt on either. So I have another floater quilt hanging out too again. Silk batting. I have not used silk batting before. I've been buying batting on giant rolls instead of like bags and stuff. So, and then my mom and I kind of go through it together. So we're almost done, or maybe we are done now with we got some bamboo batting that's lasted us for years. All right, that side's done. And now I got I just replaced it a little bit ago with some warm and natural, like a king size giant roll of it, so we could use it just for everything. I should actually bring that to her house next time I'm there. So it can live there and be used there, since that's where I do most of my. Well, then she can have it too, but that's where I do most of my quilt sandwiching now, is at my parents' house, because I don't have any floor space, and I don't really have any table space or wall space to do quilt sandwiching. So I should just bring all the batting there. I think I'll do that next time. So we're going to be a hair over tonight because I want to get this sewn and pressed. So that'll be, so we're going to go, it's almost 9:30 already. So we'll be a hair over if you wanted to hang out a hair longer tonight. Because I am not leaving this guy unsewn and unpressed tonight. All right, I'm ready. Let's stack it up. It'll go in my lap. I'm just kind of accordioning it, and then it's sitting in my lap here. Oh, Kimberly says I don't have any wall space either. Yeah, I have like, there's nothing that can fit the size of anything bigger than like a lap quilt. And now we have I used to be able to do some in our living room a little bit, but now we have a rug in there that would be horrible to move. So my kitchen table is not big enough. I mean, we don't have a kitchen table. Like this is I'm in my dining room right now, so this is our kitchen table, and it's like 3 feet by 4 feet, so that's not very big. I've done it here once, but that was before I had my current camera set up. So now with my cameras, it'd be way difficult to maneuver around the table, and I would need to go all the way around the table to do a quilt here. And we did that. I think the Triangle Tangle quilt, I think that's what we sandwiched here, and that was so difficult on this small table in this small space. So the floor, even though that's not comfortable and difficult, that was way easier than my small table here. Yep, no large kitchen table, no anything. It would work in our basement, in theory. That might not be wide enough either for like a big quilt like this. We're in a small house here, and there's no wall space to try it either. This is I'm just trying to pull the bottom over a little bit. So the best way to do it is just save up my quilt tops and my backs and sandwich it at my parents' house, where they have lots of floor space. And a big kitchen table. We could try it on there sometime. Although they're, or the big dining room table, but their dining room table is oval, and that might be a little bit more difficult than like a square or rectangular table. Definitely sandwich challenged here. Couple more and like 2 more blocks worth and we're done sewing this guy. Ugh, I just panicked a little bit. I thought maybe I didn't have a bobbin left, but we're still going. It's good. These long rows like this are the worst when you don't realize you're out of bobbin and you pinned it all, and ugh, that's the worst. So I had a little flash of panic there. Okay, last little bit. I think I actually need to get a new leader to get this off the machine, so let's just grab one of those. Okay. Awesome, so let's snip, get this off the machine here, and we'll do our little flip and press over again. I'm going to go to the end and get this other leader off though. Okay, let's do it. Final press. Doesn't my hand get hot with the glove? I guess I haven't noticed with that glove so far. I mean, it's dry and cold here still, so I think if I'm like imagining if I were to do that in the middle of summer with the windows open and it being super humid, like doing a whole quilt, that would be difficult. I'm not sure I've done that in the summer, like quilted a quilt in the summer, now that I'm thinking about it. So I don't ever kind of recall being warm with the gloves, but I think it's just my timing on when I've been using them. But I could see that they might. Oh yeah, I could probably just cut off the fingers, but I feel like I'm using the fingertips a lot. But there it says that they make gloves that keep my hand, or like that don't have the fingertips, that you can keep your hands cooler. Right now it's not a problem, but I could see that in certain climates that being horrible, especially if you're doing a ton of quilts. This is looking pretty. Oh, I thought it was a little farther. This is just the center right here. Oh, Valeria says I have extra gloves that I could give away. Maybe someone here might want some gloves. Oops, I hit my head on the camera. Sorry, you guys. Got a little shaky there. All right. Getting there. Oh, thanks, Kimberly. Yeah, quilting with friends is always good. Yep, that's why I like hanging out with you guys here in the evenings. Oop, I don't think I'm charging this as I set it down, because it is fun. So I'm either doing this with you guys or my mom when I'm visiting her, and it's nice then too. All right, I'm going to take this number 4 off again, just so it's out of my way, just to press this area. And then we have a row 3-4 done. Nice. I must have done something weird sewing some of these corners. They got a little bunched up. Gosh, I'm just imagining that quilt design that was suggested. Ooh, man, that's gonna be... I'd love to be able to eyeball it, but man, that's gonna be tough. We'll see. That's down the road. It's been a while since I looked at those quilting instructions. All right, I'm going to fold this guy up too, but we are definitely looking very quilty again. Yay, and the little red dots in the middle, I'm liking that. This has just been a fun quilt to do for sure. All right, folding it up for the month, basically, and we will work on this guy again next month. This is our project for the first week of every month. We work on this, so we get like 4 or 5 hours in. Really, only 4 typically, because we do finish it Friday as well. So we work on this 4 hours a month, and we're getting it done in those little bits of time. So even like a little bit of time here and there, we'll get it done. So all right, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is done, and look, it's all nice and folded now. And then we have 1 and 2 here yet. I think we'll remember pretty easily what's what, because it'll be obvious once we start unfolding things. I could make a note that's like, do the borders first and come back to this potentially. Maybe I'll put the borders on top in the bin, so I know that that's next. But it's feeling nice and thick like a quilt too. All right. Okay. Oh, it looks like we're frozen again. Hold on, you guys. Let's see if I can fix this. All right. There, can you guys see me again there? Yeah, okay, so, I don't know. Technology, I update something and then the whole thing goes awry. But, all right, so again, this was awesome working on this. We will start up the Splendid Sampler 2 again next week. And then the week after that is our Embroidery of the Month. I am super excited about this one this year, or this month. It's the herb bouquet, and I just think it's really fun. So get your bundle and your pattern for this soon, because we're going to be shipping them next week. And we've shipped all of them that are ordered already. If you've ordered your bundle or your pattern or your the iron-on fabric, if you've ordered any of those, it's on its way, and some people might already have them. But if you order soon, then we'll get them sent right away next week, and you should have them ready for week 3 when we actually stitch it. So be sure to get your order in for that so we can get it out. And yeah, that'll be week 3. We'll be working on that. Oh, and also stay tuned. Coming up probably week 3 as well, we are going to have our warehouse sale. We're going to be selling like little surprise bundles of stuff and just some other fun things that we have in the warehouse, kind of our second sale. So we'll be talking about that again soon here too. So just keep an eye out for that as well. All right, you guys, have a fabulous rest of your Thursday. We'll be here tomorrow for Finish It Friday, and I think we'll be working on that sheep. We'll see. I gotta pull it out of the bin again. All right, have a good evening, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.